What is going on, you guys? My name is Rage and we are back today now with difficulty 6 playthrough here of the clubs and spades lane. And again, I'm using the same 5 characters I utilized in the previous run, but this time our alliance did drop down to difficulty 6 because unfortunately we were only able to hit about 60 to 70% in difficulty 7. So dropping down to difficulty 6 to see how the mobs are. And as you can see, these guys are actually very reasonable. The 5 characters I have, Thor, Silver Surfer, Yondu, T'Challa, and Spider-Punk, you're gonna see they're gonna make short work of these nodes. So I definitely want to capture this for the folks that are watching and able to see, you know, how good of a team power level that I'm utilizing. So in case you guys are wondering, on the bottom left, each of my characters that have a turn, you can at least kind of see where their power level is at. But definitely a night and day difference between utilizing these characters in difficulty 7 and 6, because clubs was actually giving me quite a hard time, but I had a chance to bump up both Yondu and Thor in these runs now. And you can see here, if we go through the waves, even though there's a lot of characters that we're up against, focusing on high damage characters such as Iron Man and leaving the tanks and cleansers such as Rescue and Ironheart, it puts us in a very good position. Now, as you can see, these enemies actually, you know, take damage really highly just because their power level is around 60 to 80k, so they're not that strong overall. They can quite hit hard still, but I mean, so as long as you're managing the waves correctly, even in this most difficult suit here being clubs, that's where all the feedback's been from. Clubs and diamonds are giving a lot of folks right now a hard time. But something else I changed up with this team as well is I've heard rumors that adding a healer ISO 8 on Silver Surfer has actually been a really good sustain complementary piece. So you can see here every turn there is someone on my team getting the regen, and that's because of Silver Surfer. You know, we don't necessarily need his striker damage, just because really in these nodes it's about ensuring your team is healed up. And what's really nice about the synergy of this 5 character team here is that Yondu being able to summon his fellow Ravagers, the Stitcher having to heal, so that's absolutely huge. You can see here I'm just trying to go through aiming for enemies that are able to, you know, do damage to us and take them down, but we never really go down quite hard because we finally found some decent sustainability. And as well, these enemies just don't do as much damage as the higher difficulty. So that's the game plan anyways. This is a great chance now. Keep in mind, guys, we have the next 4 or 5 days, 6 days here to practice with these waves, but you know, a lot of calculations being done in terms of how we can get the air rings. That's going to be meant for the rolling milestone here, but it's looking pretty good. I think if we're able to do 100% on difficulty 6 as an alliance consistently for the 7 expected raids next week, I think we're going to have a really good chance, so as long as everyone clears the nodes that are required of their respective lane. Now, that being said, you can see here we don't really have a lot of issues. Like, yes, they can do a little bit of damage, but again, combined with Yondu and Silver Surfer being able to utilize that ISO 8 healer, this 5 character team finally has a pretty decent chance at actually pushing through clubs, which is really surprising, to be honest, because you know, you wouldn't really expect that synergy to actually work well. But considering these 5 random characters actually get put together quite well, I'm definitely glad, and I hope this is able to give you guys some perspective, at least if you're not ready yet and you're preparing for next week's trials, right? Especially with that milestone, with that coveted artifact there. So in this specific lane, we call it in our alliance lane 2/3, but it is made up of clubs and spades. So now I'm utilizing my spades roster, and not a lot of players are going to have an issue with spades because we get a generous roster of characters, and really the key character being Morgan Le Fay and Deathpool. You're going to see how much value they have. Feel free to constantly use Morgan Le Fay's ultimate because she's going to get that refresh really quick just due to Deathpool being able to replenish energy. And we also got Thanos being able to give energy to Deathpool just with her standing next to him. So, I mean, that's absolutely huge. Same format as clubs. We want to utilize our characters here to focus on the damage characters, leaving healers such as Shuri and tanks for the very end. Now, enemies, try not to focus too much on them because it's going to be different from everyone's experience. The enemies are kind of random and it's based on RNG, but the types of enemies are consistent, right? So you can see here that was a mixture of the Brotherhood, as well as you know, having Namor there and a couple of the like I said earlier, the Brotherhood characters making that big mixture of there, right? So Marauders, but there you guys have it. You can see how short work we make of the spades. They're not going to be the pain point. It really is the clubs mixture. So finally now we get the first 2 down there, and I'm just going to continue on my lane. So this is the this is the big one, the club's boss here, really showcasing you here. It took me a couple attempts when I was doing it in my difficulty 7, but again, this is going to be a quick one-shot because the 5-character team that we finally have kind of rebolstered here, and as well the synergy is a little better due to that ISO 8 having some decent sustainability. So starting things off, high damage dealers such as Black Panther, Gamora, please go ahead and actually get them to finish up and actually utilize them and take them down ASAP, just because don't underestimate their power level, right? Just because they're lower than our team doesn't mean they don't hit hard. So again, Yondu's value, bringing the Ravagers that can add DPS, soak up damage, healing, sustain, and you're going to see that really well because his fellow Ravagers can also reduce the overall turn meter of specific enemies too. So for instance, if you have this one here, he's able to actually target, take away speed, turn meter, and that's good for us to get additional damage, but as well as being able to control the mobs, right? So again, focus on key targets that are squishier, leave tanks, such as M'Baku, Heimdall for the very end, because again, they're not going to be doing too much, and if you leave them on the board, it gives us the opportunity to actually build up energy, and that's kind of the mindset, right? I don't know if we're going to push for difficulty 7 again, because to be quite honest, I don't know if our alliance is going to be ready by that time. We also don't know if we want to invest in characters and bring them up for a 2-week span when this event is just going to dissipate at the end of the day, and that's all there is to it, right? So at least this combination seems to get the job done in difficulty 6, and hopefully this can get us there in terms of the overall awards. But again, looking pretty good. Focus on the high damage dealers again. Black Panther, Star-Lord with the blind, Chavez because she's got some decent damage, Gamora, so forth. But this team seems to have really good sustainability now because of that ISO 8, and as well as Yondu's supporting cast. So yeah, and the other interesting thing about is that just the way this entire new raid structure is built, because it really gives off a Dark Dimension vibe, right? The number of enemies that come at us, we don't even see this in Doom 2.3, and honestly speaking, it's a little overwhelming if you're just built just enough, right? So my team is going to be likely higher than the end game players, just because these are the characters I really put a lot of time and investment into. But keep in mind, Thor and Yondu are recently upgraded here, so they're not typically part of my main roster. Only in the last couple weeks did I actually bring them up, and even then, they're both only level 75, so they're not as strong as the rest of the guys I have here, being Spider-Punk, T'Challa, and as well Silver Surfer, especially Silver Surfer. I think he's going to be the key. And for you guys' reference too, the main reason why he should be getting the ISO 8 is because Silver Surfer is one of the fastest characters in the game, and as well his speed actually goes up throughout the battle. So you can imagine, he's gonna get actually the most turns out of all the players, all the characters on the team. So that is exactly why you want him to have the ISO 8. If you need more sustain, maybe opt to take out a skirmisher or a raider off your specific characters and try to opt to utilize more ISO 8 healers. But you can see even in this club's boss node, typically this is the one that took multiple tries in difficulty 7. We're making short work of it right now, and you can see how smooth it is. And just look at the buffs that we have on our team, the sustainability. And again, I feel really good about this. I don't think our alliance is going to have an issue whatsoever to get 100%. And these were just my first 5 attempts right from the get-go in the next launch of this raid. So I hope this is able to give you guys some perspective, because I think this is going to be a really good team combination. Again, another Spade node here, so I'm going to switch back and forth here, just planting them back again with that usual combination of the Web Warriors mixed with Thanos, Deathpool, and Morgan Le Fay. And even if you guys don't have Morgan Le Fay, again, the big one I think is also Deathpool, because she does so much damage. She grants energy to mystic characters, and the Spades just has a really good arsenal of characters that we can utilize. And again, making short work. Keep spamming Morgan Le Fay if you have her, just because her abilities can take out so many enemies, and then energy comes back to us. Rinse and repeat. Deathpool's passive. And just making really quick runs of these nodes, even despite how many enemies there are. So I mean, it's really good to see, at least super unbalanced in these Gambit raids, but it is what it is. We have to kind of do what we will with what we got with the cards that were dealt, right? So the one thing I will say about these Spades ones that we do have to watch out for is we are going to see these combinations of the Inhumans, and Typically, Quake, Karnak, not a big deal, but when you have a double crystal combination, and honestly, if they were built a little higher, it'd be a pretty scary node just because they can constantly give them the heal, and as well as Black Bolts having pretty devastating damage. And thankfully, we can actually revive characters with energy in this node, unlike Gamma, but even so, this is some scary thoughts because of how devastating Black Bolt's damage can ultimately be. Now, that said, you can see here, we try to take down Crystal, Black Widow, supporting cast characters, leaving the tankier healers such as, Minerva, as well as Invisible One for the very end. Yo-Yo's a pretty good character to aim for as well because, she's always going to be able to ground that offense down against us, and something we just need to be mindful, right? But fortunately, like I said, if you're doing D6 with these kind of characters on your roster, likely you're not going to have a hard time just because we do have that wider array of characters being available. So that is attack number 4, and I do plan to fully finish this. So it's Spades once again now, and again, that's 5 attempts right there. Very, very smooth. If you guys watched my video yesterday made on difficulty 7, it was pretty much night and day. Don't get me wrong, I think I still had some decent attempts in the Spades, but Clubs was absolutely just giving me a hard time, and you can just see how smooth this is. So the difficulty is pretty night and day between the two, even despite the fact that they're only 1 level apart. So that's the game plan. We're gonna try and definitely utilize this experience, build up throughout the week, maybe kind of refine our characters a little bit in the given suits category that we're working on. But at the end of the day, ultimately, what we want is to see if we can either push for 100% in D7 starting next week, or we just maintain the course and just continue with difficulty 6, because I do believe it's still feasible given the calculations. Preliminary, of course, but I mean, it seems like it's pretty reasonable. So as long as your alliance can coordinate all the different lane assignments, and I think that's part of the other challenge that Scopely unfortunately did not factor in. This is a coordinated event. It's not even a raid, honestly. It's more like an event where you got to make sure there's clear communication. What about alliances that don't have the full Discord for allies to discuss? Whatever, they're just casual, and that's where some of the aspect of the fun is taken away, because I feel like this is a really, really good game mode, but the amount of coordination is absolutely it's so difficult without having a really good communication channel, and that's unfortunate because I think this is a step in the right direction towards adding versatility and a different and unique experience in the game. But the execution of it definitely could have been better, especially given all the maintenance stuff going on yesterday. And as well, just the sloppiness of how the Gambit raids were even beginning, right? So, and the balance, right? But learning experience, hopefully they take this as a huge learning experience, because I personally am enjoying the uniqueness aspect of it. It's challenging when you push up higher, and actually does require a lot of coordination. You can't just choose a lane and go wherever. There is actually a meaningful purpose to everything you do in the specific event slash raid. So just food for thought, right? Food for thought. But there you guys have it. I'm just gonna wrap up here now with the last and final attempt here. 5 nodes in, and again, all the characters fully sustained. And I think this is going to be a really good push here towards the 100%. So I'll keep you guys up to date, of course, but it's going to be interesting to see how this turns out. I really do hope that this is going to be a good way for us as an alliance to actually hit 100%. Good luck with your guys' preparation. As you can see, that's how far 5 nodes got me. And now it's going to be up to my allies, and as well as regaining the energy back. So thank you as always, guys. I do appreciate you checking my videos. Hope this helps you at least provide insight or at least a preview of what to expect. Thank you, and I'll see you guys in the next one.